Good morning, Fikes team. For today's Monday Motivational, I wanted to talk a bit about goals, but before I get there, I wanted to share that I super appreciated the amount of content and what you all provided in terms of what you would like to learn and also what you would like to help teach so that others around you learn. So it was a really robust list, adding to the list I already have going. So since we're looking at education and training for the long term, that was extremely helpful. I also mentioned that I would touch on what we must have happen and what we can't have happen. I'm going to start what many of you shared can't have happen. There was a lot of shares around that. First of all, we can't have excuses. We can't have inaction. We can't have or take shortcuts. A number of you said we can't have complacency. We can't not go above and beyond. We can't just have minimum efforts. A number of people, I think there was 5 people, said we have to go above and beyond and learn more than just on a Friday learning session, but to ask questions and to learn along the way. And we can't have a fear of failure. There was more, but those were some of the top can't haves. As far as the must haves, we have to be engaged and fully participate. We can't just show up willy-nilly whenever we want to. We have to show up and be present. We have to be excited to learn. We can't have an attitude that we would prefer not, or that we have to learn versus get to learn, which is something that was mentioned multiple times. We have to be open-minded. It might be a perspective or a method of doing something that's different than how we've done it. So we have to be open-minded to learn. And we have to use our collective strengths. It was noted that it can't just be Laura, or it can't just be myself or other team members that may conduct a number of the training classes. It has to be a collective effort. We have to make a choice. Some of you were in the leadership class. We talked about you choose to be a leader. You choose to be someone that steps up. It's the same with learning and education. We have to choose to get better and do whatever that takes. We have to be willing to get outside of our comfort zone. Clearly, we can't just be in the comfort cave. We've got to get out there and learn something that maybe does feel a little bit uncomfortable initially. We also have to have a thirst for learning and seek that learning out, not just wait for it to come to us. We can learn something every day. So those were a lot of good reasons. Also, accountability and commitment were mentioned, about 4 or 5 times each. So again, it seems like everyone is aligned with what we must have happen. But in terms of the word I was looking for, both on the can't have and the must have, they were the following. We can't have, drum roll please, ego. And one person mentioned this. We can't have ego because ego allows for fear, a lack of humility, and our motivation is around whether or not we look good or in hopes that we don't screw up versus growing ourselves and those around us. We can't let ego get in the way. Thank you, Matthew Brown, for pointing that out. I will have a special prize for you. In terms of what we must have, and it was actually something that no one mentioned. There was talk of comfort zone, there was talk of get to versus have to, so it was close. But the word I was really looking for is courage. We have to have courage. We have to be courageous enough to say, I don't know. I'm new. I'm a veteran, but I still don't know this very well. I will do this, but I have some fears that I'm going to mess up, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's what we have to have is courage. And on Friday, at the learning session that Laura conducted, I even asked the question in the communication training for why we didn't have an individual that went up in front of role practice. Everyone stayed back, whether they'd been here for a week or 2 or for 10 years. And I'm a strong believer that in order to have a thirst for learning and to grow, it's going to take courage. So those are the 2 things. Ego, we cannot have, and we must have courage in tandem with all the great aspects around what we need to possess in order to be a great company with a very successful education and training program. So now on goals. I'm choosing today not to ask you what a formal definition of goals are or to see if you can differentiate between what a goal is and what a dream is and all of that. Many of you have been around for a lot of motivational and perspective aspects that Fikes has to offer. But what I want from you to learn what your definition of a goal is the following. Number one, what you would like to accomplish, a goal you'd like to accomplish in the first 30 days. Number two, what you'd like to accomplish in the next 90 days, and also from a year from today. Those of you, and I know there's about 20 individuals in the leadership class, if you would like to add sort of a bonus opportunity of anything you would like to see for a goal for the company that you can be a part of, whether it's the company at large or whether it's individuals around you. And then lastly, and not least, is what could get in your way. When you think about setting goals for your 30-day, 90-day, or a year from today, what could get in your way? So that's today's Monday Motivational. I look forward to everyone's answers. I appreciate everyone's answers from last week. We don't have that much more time left in 2021, so let's get after it. Onward and upward.